It's funny that you say that because I was thinking as Dennis, as you were talking, I was like, man, Dennis is like a craftsman. He like makes stuff with his hands. And I shoot photos with my iPhone. I use an app called Camera Plus. And then I edit the photos with an app called Snapseed, which is a free app. They don't pay me to say any of this. This is just the truth. And I post them on another app called Instagram, which is a very, very popular social media app that has somewhere it's like 500 million users around the world. So I've been doing that since I think 2013. So it's been like 5 years of that, and I have this very large following. And your following is like the people who see your work every day. So every time I post a photo, 20,000 people get to see that picture because that's what my following number is, which is an enormous audience when you think about the fact that roughly 75,000 people live in Bethlehem. So that's a real big, I think it's like a little bit under 30%. Not great, but that's close. I get the question a lot, and from people that I meet, from like friends of mine, my parents ask me this stuff, my best friends ask me, people that I work with ask. And then I get, from time to time, I get calls from like internet web startup companies from New York or California or Denver, and they call and they say, why does Bethlehem have an Instagram account that has 20,000 followers? And so I wish there was a really good answer for this, but I just started because I needed a creative outlet. I just needed to feel like I was making something every day. And if I don't get that feeling, I just get real like squirrely is the best way I can describe it, and just kind of bunched up. And I don't have the patience for that. I couldn't paint. Doodling's okay, but it didn't feel like it was enough. And I learned photography because I worked as a reporter for the Bethlehem Press. And I was a writer. I took that job because I'm a good writer. And I was just writing and for about 3 weeks. It's a very small like startup newspaper, very highly localized. And after about 3 weeks, the editor said, hey, there's cameras over there. Take one of those and go and shoot photos and also write the story. I was like, boy, did not sign up for that. But luckily, the press corps in Bethlehem at that time, so there was WFMZ was always there, the Morning Call was there, and the Express Times was there. And then occasionally we'd get this like Philly news group that would come in for like bigger stories, and then I was there. And the photographers especially kind of like took me under their wing because they saw that I obviously did not know what I was doing. And so they would guide me and they would say, don't do that. Like line up, yeah, really, and like line up your shot like this. Just copy off of me until you get comfortable. Just copy. And a guy named Harry Fisher, who's a photographer for the Morning Call, very, very talented guy, who takes beautiful images. He said to me one time, he said, listen, your job today is to get this shot. So I don't care if you have to step in front of someone, I don't care if you have to lay down in the dirt and take a reflection shot or shoot everyone up. Like, your job is to get the shot, so go and get the shot. So I had this great training on photography, so I kind of felt comfortable in the medium, and the iPhones had just kind of got this huge upgrade with cameras. It just seemed like a perfect fit, and a friend of mine who's an architect said he would really like this app, Instagram. So I just kind of started playing around with it, and by that time I was then working for the city of Bethlehem, and part of my job was like marketing and public relations, and I ran economic development programs and was just trying to get more business to come to the city, more people to come to the city. Because I worked for the city, I had this great like city ID, so like I could go into a building and say like, oh hey, I work for the city and I'm in economic development, we have these loan programs, I'd love to like take a look at your abandoned building, is that okay? And most of the time people were just like, go right ahead and take pictures. So I had all this great content and this ability to create like good content around it, and I knew the story of the city really well because that was part of my job. Was the Pennsylvania Mayor's Convention was in town. They needed a tour. That was me. I gave them the tour. So I knew the spots. Like I knew which angles looked good. I pretty much knew where the puddles were. I knew where the sunrises were going to come up. I knew when the flowers were going to bloom. Like all of that stuff that you know when you really, really know home. I get to know all that. So I kind of combined those two things. I thought, well, I have this platform and I have all these like tools, and then how do I tell this story? So that's what my account is really about. And then Lindsay suggested that for this exhibit where my photos are, I don't want to say like matched or like a before or after of the collection, but there are similar spots like God's Acre Cemetery and like the corner of Main and Market Street and like the Central Moravian Church Green. And these pictures are from like the 50s and 60s and even back further than that. I'm like, wow, we all kind of see the same things. So just to kind of close out here, people ask me what my account is about, and I struggle to like tell them what it's about. When Lindsay told me about the collection of photographs I had, she said, this is true too, she said, it's like a quirky collection of random photos of Bethlehem. So now when I talk about my account, that's how I explain it. It's like a quirky collection of random photos of Bethlehem. So if anyone has questions or anything like that,
Do you do mostly black and white or color?
I do color. And I like black and white photography. I see what some other people do. The great thing about Instagram is it's my gallery and it's everybody else in the world's gallery. So there's professional artists on there that share their work. There's moms that are playing with kids all day that share their work. You can see anything that you want. And I love black and white photography. But for me, in the stories I want to tell, I like kind of oversaturated color. And I think it really works on like the screen, like you have the brightness up, and it just really pops. So it's all color.
Which I feel is a really nice contrast because
Yeah.
our collection is primarily black and white photography.
Right. Yeah, I don't think you'll mix up any of the
No.
It's pretty good.
On average, how many pictures do you post a day?
In the beginning, I was posting a lot, every day. It slows down. It's very, the account is very related to my life. When I get busy with the project at work, I just don't have time to go out and take a walk for an hour and then take photos and edit them. I just don't have that time. But when it's slow, and I try to match my mood to the mood of what I feel is like the collective of the city. Like today, if you guys follow me today, I posted a picture of like a flower growing on Main Street right in front of Brethren House, right? And then in the background was Central Moravian Church, and there was like raindrops on the flower, and I was like, this is how today feels. It was like, it's almost spring, and like we're just so close to it, but it's like teasing us a little bit. So I felt like that was kind of like what that photo meant. And like, it's funny because so many times people will say, I saw that today and I was gonna stop, or I saw it when I was driving home and yeah, it's the same thing, and thanks for like sharing a picture of that. So it's like we were talking earlier, like there's a lot of negativity on social media, but like this is one nice example of all these people who have this like love for Bethlehem that we can all share. It's pretty neat.
Bekah,
Yeah.
you do meetups, right? Where
Yes.
you meet at
Yes.
iconic places in Bethlehem. Do you determine that and then
I do.
lead
Yeah.
that? Can you explain how
I can, sure. Yeah. So when Instagram first started, it was immediately kind of like this community grew around it, of this community of like positivity, I would say, as opposed to like some other social medias that tend to be very negative. Like Twitter tends to be very catty. Instagram from inception was very, hey, let's all get together. And so they started to do these things called the user group, started to do these things called Insta-meets, where they would say, hey, I'm gonna be at this site at this time. If you guys wanna come hang out, we'll shoot some photos. I know a couple good spots here. Sunrise will be about this time. You know, I know this place. And then we'll share like tips. You should all come out. And people started to do that, to have these like little meetups and gatherings. So I've held probably like 10 or 11 of them. The best one that I did, this was really cool, again, because of the jobs that I've had and just having the ability to know good timing and talk, I was able to get a group of about 250 people into Martin Tower before they started, it was awesome, before they started like the renovations. And they let us on the first floor, and then in the library there's like a mezzanine, so we were able to get on the mezzanine. And I told the owner, who I had a great relationship with, who at the time, it was just a real smooth method of communication. I felt like he didn't really understand Instagram, but he kind of was like, all right, you figure this out. I said, I think we'll get about 50 people. And he showed up in the parking lot as I was standing there with this enormous crowd of people, and he was like, this is more than 50. But it was a very controlled environment. I explained, and as I do for every meetup that we do, because I often will host them at historic sites because I find them a little more interesting, I say that this day is about respect, and it's respecting the history, and it's also respecting one another. So do your best not to like walk in front of someone else that's clearly trying to take a picture, and listen to each other. And we're doing this as a group. It's a fun, positive activity. And we had no incidents of people trying to go upstairs. I mean, everyone asked, but I just, it just wasn't possible. I was like, I got us this far. This is the finish line, But if you go on Instagram now and you look up hashtag IG meet, I think actually it's hashtag meet Martin Tower. You'll see the photographs, and probably the best moment of the day was these people were just kind of like coming in, because there was like a crowd of people in cars, and it's never like that. Now with the construction it's a little different, but like back then it was never like that. So people were just like, yeah, I was at CBS. What's going on? So I was like, listen, you're welcome to come in. You can have a professional camera. You can have your whatever. You're welcome to come in, and just if you want to walk around, these are the areas you can't go in. Just be respectful. Have a nice time. And these kids showed up, probably like they were teenagers, and they were like on their bikes, and they had pulled their bikes into the lobby of Martin Tower and were like riding their bikes around. And I was like, oh boy, this is like, yikes. And a guy that I know who's a professional photographer saw them, and he's a colorful guy. And he was like, hey, like, don't do that on the floor, like, come on guys. And they were like, oh, sorry. And he took them outside, and this was so neat. He helped them line their bikes up so that the I-beam in the fountain that's right outside of Martin Tower was like right behind it. And he said like, get low, and this is how you shoot. And it was such a great moment of these very two different groups that would never interact, especially not in this space, that had this really nice moment together. So we get stuff like that at the Insta Meets. Like, it's just like those kind of nice moments of like, my mom would say, stop saying like, but these very nice moments where different segments of the community can come together. And it happens digitally all the time, but it's especially important when you see it like at the Insta Meets.
Are most of your 20,000 people from Bethlehem, or can you not tell where they're from?
That's a good question. Initially, when I started doing this, I was like, I'm going to track all of this. And now, I will say, I expected it to go well. I did not think we were going to hit 20,000. But I was like, I'll track this. And it just became too hard because there's been 5 years, kids that followed me initially are in college or they're in their first jobs in Boston or Dallas or wherever. So I do say that the chances of someone following me without having a connection to Bethlehem, whether you went to college here, you grew up here, you got married to the Hotel Bethlehem, like whatever that connection is, you have some connection, and that's why you follow my account.
Do you have publications that offer to purchase your images to use?
I do, yeah, I do. I have a couple of agreements with, like the Downtown Bethlehem Association has one. I sell some work occasionally. People ask for stuff a lot, and I don't consider myself an artist, so that part of it I am like learning, I guess, and I'm not good at it because I'm like, I don't know, just take it. I don't want to do it. I just want to take more. I don't care what happens to the old ones. It's about like the next one for me. But yeah, I have had like businesses will ask, or I had a great one was this woman contacted me because I took a picture of the Boyd, and she was like, my husband proposed to me there. How much do you want for that photo? I was like, just take it. Just email it to you. Do whatever you want. So I just really enjoyed that moment. My most popular stuff is like Bethlehem Steel, because I think that draws the crowd that's not necessarily from Bethlehem, but likes the architecture or like the Gothic kind of feel to it. Yeah, whatever. Right, industrial. Yes, absolutely. But locally, the most popular stuff is like the Cup. Like I'll go to the Cup. Yeah, I'll go to the Cup like on like July 28th, and just take a picture of this like ice cream cone covered in sprinkles, and all of you will be like, I want that. And all of them do that because, like I said, it's moments, and it's my understanding of like how we're all feeling. I think you can be kind of very sensitive to that.